Sometimes I feel the market's heartbeat in my own chest, wild, erratic, uncertain, full of both hope and an unspoken anxiety. There's something electric about sitting on the edge, watching Bitcoin hover and falter around its legendary peak. Yes, that haunting all-time high from 2021, when the world seemed so much simpler, or perhaps just less bruised. Today, that number isn't just a statistic on a screen. It's a pulsing, throbbing marker, the place where dreams meet the hard, cold reality of the bear. In this fog of volatility, there is messy beauty and dangerous opportunity. Which brings me to the real question. What does it truly mean for Bitcoin to regain its strength? And, if gravity wins, where will the fall finally halt? Pause with me for a moment. If you're finding yourself drawn into this storm, if these market moments speak to some part of your restless spirit, subscribe to Crypto 101 Central. Let's face these cycles, these highs and falls, together. Hit the bell too. Imagine it as a lifeline, a tiny silver thread pulling you back to the conversation whenever the tides turn. It's easy to become disoriented by the day-to-day noise, but the truth, I believe, always finds a way to whisper through the static. The coordinates of support, the lines, the shapes, they're less pristine than I'd wish, almost blurred, as if time itself is exhausted. Price stumbles above and below, teasing clarity but refusing to surrender it. The sideways motion isn't just a chart pattern, it's a metaphor, a sideways pause that markets and hearts alike must endure. The zone matters. The emotion in the air, the tension, matters. Whether it's clean or chaos, what counts is this: are we still in the support region? Or have we slipped, finally, into the unknown? Every time I return here, to the tangled world of altcoins, I'm haunted by the voices. Some are insistent, hopeful, even a little desperate. Isn't there strength in the altcoin market? Others murmur about cycles and scenes from 2021, as if the past will replay itself with familiar warmth. But the truth is more nuanced. The altcoin tide mimics old patterns, but the rhythm is off. The cycle from last time repeats itself, and yet it doesn't. The market was here in 2022, just after the euphoria had been bled dry, just after reality had returned like a cold morning wind. The valuations seem higher, the stakes bigger, but I know, deep down, none of this signals real strength. It's just inertia. It's just echoes of a world that never truly arrived for altcoins. Don't be fooled. That's the mantra I mutter under my breath. And so, as I run my hands along the pulse of these markets on this nondescript day in early 2026, I find myself circling back, again, to the 4-year rhythm. That ghostly cycle that haunts every Bitcoin believer. Over and over, the hills and valleys repeat themselves, never truly new. Look closely, and you'll see it. The drama of 2022 etched in new colors but familiar brushstrokes. 100 exponential moving average, a line I almost trust, held the chart's weight, ascended in its quiet channel, pushed against the stubborn ceiling of resistance. Then came the break. The tumble, gravity that always wins in the end, driving it down toward those ancient support levels, as steady and merciless as winter rain. Now, in the present, the cycle replays itself, but the actors wear new masks. 74,000, that high water mark of resistance, looms above. The volume profile tells the story for those who can read between its silent peaks and valleys. If support breaks here, the chasm yawns open to 53,000. I say these numbers, but what I really mean is this. The distance between hope and despair is measured in more than dollars. It's measured in sleepless nights, in the slow burn anxiety of watching, waiting, wondering. This sideways phase is both limbo and lifeline. It is where we pause, catch our breath, reflect, before the next updraft or the next collapse. And yet I find myself searching for patterns, for meaning, for the tiniest signal that will grant me foresight. Sometimes I find only noise, jagged triangles and pennants that promise certainty but resolve into chaos. That is how recovery always feels. Ambiguous, patchwork, fragile. Still, my gaze is fixed on that 74,000 threshold. If Bitcoin can claim that space for its own, not just visit, but inhabit it, then and only then do I sense the market might awaken again. Lose this hold, sink below without fight, and we freefall to 53,000. The void sharpens. The cliff's edge beckons. Around now, halfway through this long reflection, I want to ask you to leave a trace. Like this video if your heart races with mine while watching charts that never sleep. Type your thoughts, your doubts, your hopes into the comments. Let's build, together, a space where even losses mean we are not alone in this wild digital landscape. Time is always a spiral. By the measure of cycles, October seems to gleam in the distance, a probable low point. A date that every line and every story arc leans toward. The data is a force of its own. It whispers. October is where the most supported bottom rests. The price is uncertain. The range is wide. 32, 34, 36,000, perhaps even 46,000. But it's the rhythm, not the numbers, that matters most. I see patterns repeating. Bitcoin moving ahead of schedule, as if racing itself, burning too bright, too fast. Perhaps these motions are not a sign of strength, but a need for pause. In my own journey, uncertainty is a companion. Sometimes, in the dead space between certainty and guesswork, I settle for this. The suggestion that Bitcoin, like all things that burn too bright, must rest, must give in to gravity, must take a breath before what comes next. I don't know if support will truly hold, here or at 53,000. I only know that we need a pause, a moment to gather ourselves before the storm that might follow. When I sense this pause, it feels deeply human, a universal longing for rest. Now, as for the altcoin market, oh, the stories I've heard. Claims of outperformance, whispers of resilience. The hopeful song that altcoins are finally, mercifully, beating their old master. But I watch with different eyes. I see the patterns on the Bitcoin dominance chart. Not falling, not rising, only drifting sideways, as if the very market is in denial. The truth, sometimes, is a bleak shore. Altcoins did not have their euphoric wave, did not crash with the same violence because there was little to be drained. This market is not safer. It is not stronger. It is merely less. Less of everything. Less mania, less drama, less potential energy waiting to be released. The money is thin, spread out, every new coin a dilution, every promise less compelling. That is why hope, this time, is misplaced. The metrics are clear. The only story that matters is the sideways drift. The only honest comparison shows neither Bitcoin nor altcoins winning. Both bleed, quietly, into the same ocean. I do not pretend to know what tomorrow will bring. My guesses are as fragile as anyone's. I see the bare outlines of truth. The market remains messy. The macro is luminous in its clarity, but the short term is murkier than ever. I want you to feel for a moment the raw nerve of this uncertainty. There's power in not knowing, in standing with your feet in shifting sand and refusing to run. The only certainty now is that support may hold for a while longer, here or lower, or perhaps somewhere we can't yet see. We will pause, consolidate, inhale, and then, when the next move comes, we'll meet it together, for better or worse. As for the altcoins, the verdict is already written. They are limping along as they always have, weighted by all their missed promises, hoping for another chance that may never come. My delivery today may feel rushed, frantic even. Life moves. I've moved house, boxes half unpacked. My own chaos, a mirror of the market's restless energy. Yet even in this, I find a kind of kinship with the volatility. We're all, in some way, searching for a place to settle, to be safe, if only for a moment. Before we part, let me pull you back one last time. Subscribe, if you haven't yet. This journey is unpredictable, but not one of us should face it alone. Hit the bell. Let its quiet chime be a reminder. Conversation is ongoing. The story isn't finished. And if you hunger for more, for deeper dives, for new reflections, explore the other videos here on Crypto 101 Central. Until next time, hold fast and remember, in every bear market, there is a moment when even the fiercest storm must pause. We'll be here for it, together.